Hey, this is Lisa from CoochieCoochieCoo.com. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I love using felted wool sweaters for sewing and crafting. Today I'm going to show you how to use a felted wool sweater to make a very cool embroidered snowflake Christmas tree ornament. So you will need your felted wool sweater. I'm using red because it's a good Christmassy color. Some fabric shears to cut the sweater up. You'll need some embroidery thread. You can use white or a silvery color, whichever you prefer. Embroidery needles. Embroidery scissors are helpful just for cutting out the little threads without using your huge shears. You can just draw your snowflake freehand, or you can use my free downloadable printout. What you need to do that is use this Stick and Stitch by Sulky. This is really, really useful for transferring embroidery patterns. Each page has two sides. There's this shiny papery side and then this rougher fabricy side. You're going to print onto this side here. Once you've downloaded the free snowflake pattern, print it out, and this is what it looks like. I suggest to use regular scissors for cutting this out rather than your fabric shears so they don't get all gunked up. Then you will need a glass that can fit over nicely the size, leaving some space around it. And finally, you'll need some stuffing. I'm using memory foam bits because that's what I have, but you can also just use regular polyfill. Let's get started. Start by cutting out your fabric from your sweater. I used the arm because it has a lot of little bits that are easily used. I did 1, 2, 3 pieces for now because I'm going to be doing all 3 of the snowflake types. Make sure that your pieces are big enough to put your glass on because you're going to be using this as a template. Now, let's go on to the snowflake design. I've cut them out with my regular scissors so I don't gunk up my other ones. Cut out the separate pieces. Let's start with just one. Okay, now you'll have to peel off the backing. What you're actually going to be doing is not so much peeling off the backing, but peeling off the front part, which is the softer part that comes off. See how it peels right off? Okay, and then you just press it right into the center of your wool piece and press it down as well as you can. Press it nice and hard so it sticks well. The Stick and Stitch sticks very well to most fabrics, and it even sticks well to felted wool. And here we have all 3 of the snowflakes, 1, 2, 3, on their own little square of felted wool. Now, thread up your needle and let's get stitching. Okay, now that we've got our 3 snowflake designs stuck onto the fabric here, let's start stitching. Now, normally you would use an embroidery hoop, but this felted wool is really thick and so it won't actually fit between the 2 parts of the embroidery hoop. So, get your thread ready. I am using this DMC. It's number 5283. It's a silver metallic moulinet. I'm using all 6 strands. We're starting from the top. You can use fewer strands if you want. I like the effect of a nice thick one. So start here at the top. Pull to the front. Make sure you've knotted the end. Go right down here where these other branches meet up. Okay, then go off to the side. Off to the side here, go right into that hole in there. Same hole, there we go. Now move our way down, part way through the down this branch here where there's a little space. Pull through and again go through this little hole. Continue working your way down like this. I have a separate video that shows how to do these snowflake embroideries in all the detail that you need. Here we have a French knot. I also show you how to do a French knot in that other video. So if you don't know how to do that, just hop on over there and take a look at it. There we go, French knot. When you're done, knot off the thread on the back, cut it off, and there you've got your beautiful snowflake. Now, do it with the other ones. we've got 1, 2, 3. I've got silver and 2 white ones that I did. Now we're going to remove this stick and stitch. First, let's do it by hand. We're going to peel off an edge. Get your regular craft scissors, not your fabric ones. Just pull off an edge like that and just trim it right off. Be very, very, very careful that you are not cutting your embroidery stitches or the fabric for that matter. Go around, pulling up as much as you can and snipping into it to remove as much as you possibly can. And here we've got the last bit of this silver snowflake. And there it is. Now, do the same thing with the other ones so that you have all 3 of your snowflakes. We've trimmed off all around the excess stick and stitch, and now we're going to go to the sink and rinse the rest of it off. All right, here we are at our sink, and we're going to do the most fun part. We are going to use the water to dissolve the rest of this stick and stitch. So put your water on. It's best if it's warm. And just stick it underneath the water. This is a little bit slow because my water's not super warm. You can see it's still here, but it's starting to come apart. It's starting to dissolve little bit by little bit. You can see the little bits are starting to come off. The more you keep it under the water, just keep massaging it, I guess. Rub it with your finger, with your thumbs. Try and use your fingernails. Be very gentle. So you don't want to mess up your stitching, but you want to just kind of rub off any bits of that slimy-ish, half-dissolved stick and stitch. All right, it feels pretty good. A nice thing about this silvery embroidery thread is that it's actually quite rigid, so it doesn't get distorted or warped as easily as regular embroidery thread. And here we have it. Look, you can see that there's still all these embroidery stitches. You can see the knots, the French knots sticking out, but all the stick and stitch is gone. All right, you can squeeze it out a little bit. Be very gentle with it though. You don't want to go overboard. Kind of pull on the fabric a bit like this, and then set it out flat to dry. Once your snowflakes are dried, iron them with a steam iron. Use a protective ironing cloth to protect the embroidery stitches. I actually made 2 sets so that I could have a front and a back that look exactly the same. Take each one, center a glass over the design, and use chalk to draw all around the glass. Take your scissors and cut out a round. And here we have all of them cut out. You can also use regular fabric without the embroidery for the back. All right, now take a pair and put them together. We're going to put them so that they have wrong sides together. Make sure you have the tops lining up so that we have here and here. There we go. Hold them together. Make sure that the edges more or less match up. Here they seem to be okay. If there's anything sticking out in a weird way, you can just trim it off. For example, here we've got a little bit sticking out. Okay, here also it's not perfect, so we'll clip off any little bits like that. Next, take your thread and your needle. I'm using white to match the color of the snowflake, but you can use the same color as the thing. Starting at the very top, let's move them. They're going to go in the one layer here and pull right through. Okay, hide the knot on the inside like this and go through the back and come out the front in the same place where this first thread came out. Here it is a little bit closer. You can see the first loop that goes like that. Stick the needle in the center here, just to get it so that the thread comes out the top. And let's go work our way around clockwise, doing the ladder stitch, or the blanket stitch rather. Go through the back like this. Make sure that your needle is coming out the same amount of distance from the edge as the first one was. Okay, pull all the way through. Leave a little loop here. Go through the back of the needle. Pull through. And there we've got our first stitch. You can see the thread goes right along the edge there. Let's do it again. The second time, we want again to have the same distance from the edge, but also the same distance between the stitches themselves. So you need to make sure you have the right amount in both senses. Again, here's your loop. Go from the back and pull through. And there's our second stitch. Make sure you're holding the layers together as you do this. And continue this way all around. Once you've worked your way around most of the circle, there's a little space here left. You can stuff this if you want to make it a little bit poofier. I'm actually just going to leave it like this because the felt is thick enough that it stays pretty rigid and it can hang up nicely by itself. So let's continue and finish this blanket stitch. Okay, we've gotten to the end. We have just this one last space left, so let's do one last blanket stitch. We're going to go into the back. So we're going to go into the back and come out the front where the stitch already is. Do our last last blanket stitch. And there, we're all done. See how nice that looks? Okay, now if you want, you can take a little knot. Let's make a little knot just to block the stitch there. Okay, so we're just going to go through and pull it tightly. There we go. Now to make our hanger, let's figure out how much we want our hanger to be. Let's let the thread kind of go loose here. All right, we want the hanger to maybe be about like this, we'll say, more or less. Okay, so hold it in place like this. Take another knot. Oops, take another knot like this. Put it in here again. Let's make another knot. All right, go through and go through again. That's just to block it. Okay. Oops. Okay. And there we have our hanger. Okay, just stick this down into the center. Let's hide this extra bit of thread. Just stick your needle in here into the center between the two layers. Pull it out somewhere else like this. Pull it out. Oops, the needle came off, that's okay. Pull it off all the way and use your embroidery scissors or your other scissors. I don't have my embroidery ones handy. Trim the thread and there you've got your cute little ornament. Here we've got 1, 2, 3 beautiful embroidered snowflake ornaments. Now all you need to do is hang them on the tree. Read the description below the video and click the link to download the free snowflake embroidery pattern. You can use this pattern to make these cool ornaments, but also lots of other projects. You can find another project right here on my YouTube channel using the same pattern to embroider a handmade Christmas stocking. Click on the link here to see it. And hey, don't forget to click to subscribe to my YouTube channel too. See you soon!